Hi, second grade. Time for Charlotte's Web. We are already on chapter 17, The Cool of the Evening. Remember, they are at the fair. Templeton, Wilbur, and Charlotte, along with Fern and Avery and the Zuckermans. The cool of the evening. In the cool of the evening, when the shadows darken the fairgrounds, Templeton crept from the crate. He looked around. Wilbur lay asleep in the straw. Charlotte was building a web. Templeton's keen nose detected fine smells in the air. The rat was hungry and thirsty. He decided to go exploring. Without saying anything to anyone, he started off. "Bring me back a word. I need a word," Charlotte called after him. "I will be writing tonight for the last time." The rat mumbled something to himself and disappeared in the shadows. He didn't like being treated as a messenger boy. After the heat of the day, the evening came as a welcome relief to all. The Ferris wheel was lighted now. It went round and round in the sky and seemed twice as high at night as during the day. There were lights on, and you could hear the crackle of machines and music. You could also hear music coming from near the merry-go-round and the voice of a man in a booth calling numbers for a bingo game. The children felt refreshed after their nap. Fern met Henry. He invited her to ride with him on the Ferris wheel. He even bought the ticket for her so she didn't have to pay. When Mrs. Arble happened to look up into the starry sky, she saw her little daughter sitting next to Henry and going higher and higher in the air, and she saw how happy Fern looked. She shook her head. My, she said. Fern riding on the Ferris wheel with Henry. Imagine that. Templeton kept out of sight. In the tall grass behind the cattle barn, he found a folded-up newspaper. Inside were leftovers from somebody's lunch. A ham sandwich, a piece of Swiss cheese, a part of a hard-boiled egg, a core of a wormy apple. The rat crawled in and ate everything, and then he tore a word out of the newspaper. He rolled the word up and started back to Wilbur's pen. Charlotte had her web almost finished when Templeton returned, carrying the newspaper clipping. She had left an open space in the middle of the web to write the word. At this hour, no people were around in the pig pen, so the rat, the spider, and the pig were all by themselves. "I hope you brought me a good word," Charlotte said. "It's the last word I shall ever write." "Here," said Templeton. "What does it say? Can you read it for me?" Charlotte asked. "It says, 'humble,'" replied the rat. "Humble," said Charlotte. "Humble has two meanings. One meaning is that you're not proud. The other meaning means near the ground. That is Wilbur all over. He's not proud, and he's near the ground." "Well, I hope you're satisfied then," said the rat. "I'm not going to spend my time fetching and carrying words back and forth. I came to the fair to enjoy myself, not to deliver words." "You've been very helpful," Charlotte said. "Run along if you want to see and enjoy the fair." The rat grinned. "I'm going to be running around all night at the fair. The old sheep was right. This is a paradise for me. What eating, what drinking, what good hiding places, what good hunting. Bye-bye, my humble Wilbur. Farewell to thee, Charlotte, you old schemer. This will be a night to remember in the life of a rat." He vanished in the shadows. Charlotte went back to her work. It was quite dark now. In the distance, fireworks were being shot off into the night sky. By the time the Arbles and the Zuckermans and Lurvy returned from watching the fireworks, Charlotte finished her web. The word humble was woven neatly in the center. Nobody noticed it in the darkness. Everyone was tired from the happy day. Fern and Avery climbed into the truck and laid down. They pulled the blanket over them. Lurvy gave Wilbur a forkful of fresh straw. Mr. Arble patted him. "It's time for us to go home," he said to the pig. "You're going to stay here at the fair, and we will be back tomorrow." The grown-ups climbed slowly into the truck, and Wilbur heard the engine start, and he heard the truck move away very slowly. He would have felt lonely, homesick, if Charlotte was not with him. He never felt lonely when Charlotte was near. In the distance, he could hear the music of the merry-go-round, and as he was dropping off to sleep, he spoke to Charlotte. "Can you sing me a song again?" "Sing me a song about the dark," he begged. "Not tonight," she said in a low voice. "I'm too tired." Her voice didn't seem to come from her web, though. "Where are you?" asked Wilbur. "I can't see you. Are you on your web?" "No, I'm back here. I'm up in this back corner," she answered. "Why? Why aren't you in your web?" asked Wilbur. "You almost never leave your web." "I've left it tonight," she said. Wilbur closed his eyes. "Charlotte," he said after a while, "do you really think that the Zuckermans will let me live and not kill me when winter comes? Do you really think so?" "Of course I think so," said Charlotte. "You're a famous pig, and you're a good pig, and tomorrow you will probably win first prize. The whole world will know about you. Zuckerman will be proud of you and happy to own you as their pig. You have nothing to fear, Wilbur, nothing to worry about. Maybe you'll live forever, who knows? But now it's time to go to sleep." For a while there was no sound, and then Wilbur's voice again. "What are you doing up there, Charlotte?" "I'm making something," she said. "I'm making something like I usually am doing." "Is it something for me?" asked Wilbur. "No," said Charlotte. "It's something for me. For a change, I'm making something for myself." "Please tell me what it is," begged Wilbur. "I'll tell you in the morning, when the first light comes in the sky, and the sparrows stir, and the cows rattle their chains, when the rooster crows, and the stars fade, when the early cars go along the highway, you look up here, and I will show you something. It's a masterpiece." Before she finished the sentence, Wilbur was asleep. She could tell by the sound of the breathing that he was sleeping peacefully, deep in the straw. Miles away at the Arble's house, the men sat around the kitchen. They were eating peaches and talking about the fair. Upstairs, Avery was already ready for bed and sleeping. Mrs. Arble was telling Fern good night. "Did you have a good time at the fair?" she asked as she kissed her daughter good night. Fern nodded. "I had the best time of my life, the best time I've ever had anywhere." "Well," said Mrs. Arble, "that is so nice to hear." And that is the end of that chapter, chapter 17. So I will read the next chapter tomorrow. It is called The Egg Sack. There was a picture. This is Templeton getting the word humble from the newspaper. And this is Templeton saying how wonderful the fair is, his favorite place. All right, second grade. I will read chapter 19 to you tomorrow. We are on, if you want to do some subtraction, we are on page 144. Oh, that's easy subtraction. And there's 184. You should be able to do mental math. You should be able to do that in your head. 184, and we're on page 144. All right, have a great day, second grade.